Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is the 3rd of August and I am not really in the mood to be on camera. So why am I filming? Firstly because I'm trying to be better at actually filming as soon as possible after I've finished a book as I can. And also because this is real life, it's not always like rainbows and puppy dogs. So you've got me today with frizzy hair in my pyjamas and I just feel a bit pants. I have just watched back my July wrap up, which I've just edited to go up on Sunday. Obviously, I've been live for ages by the time you see this. And I had such a good end to the month and I was all chirpy and stuff, which was great. But I've just had, sorry, I got cat hair somewhere. I just had a bit of a slump the last couple of days. And from what I can tell from my other teacher friends, this is normal. It's just the burnout, like catching up and the exhaustion and stuff. So I'm just riding it out. I'm fine. I'm just having to have a quiet couple of days, which is what I need. So yeah, I feel a little bit flat. So apologies if I've definitely got cat hair somewhere on my mouth. If I'm a bit flat. But I have finished a book and I gave it 5 stars, which is a cracking start to my reading month. That book is The Doll Factory by Elizabeth McNeil. She also wrote Circus of Wonders. This was her debut. I read Circus of Wonders last year. And then this was the debut, which I went back and added to my wish list, and it was very kindly gifted to me for my birthday. And we are in London 1850, and we've got dual narration. So we've got Iris, we've got Iris who kind of gets out of her life of poverty. Her and her twin sister work in a doll factory, making dolls, painting dolls, and she kind of gets out of that because she catches the eye of the artist Louis Frost, who was a pre-Raphaelite artist, part of that movement, and Iris herself is also an artist and she wants to get better at that and learn to paint. Sorry if you can hear children screaming, it's the summer holidays. And she becomes his muse and he also agrees to teach her to paint. And at the same time we're following Silas, who is a taxidermist and a collector, and he spots Iris one day and basically becomes completely obsessed with her. So we're following the two of them. Iris is pretty much unaware of Silas, and her parts of the narration, because you have one chapter from her and then one chapter from him, her side of the narration is very much about finding herself, her sexual awakening, a romance that happens, and her like basically spreading her wings and going out into the world. And then Silas's side is so creepy because he is hyper focused on her, and he is talking about the taxidermy that he does, and the great exhibition is being put together and he wants to be part of that, but his whole world like tunnels down until all he can see is Iris, and the two of them are on this collision course until something happens near the end of the book, and it was like, whoa. So yeah, that's kind of the basic setup. It's very gothic, it's very creepy, it's very much a kind of look at poverty and the way that society is structured, and it looks at obsession and love and art and sex and all of those good things, and I just absolutely loved it and gave it 5 stars. I would say Silas is a taxidermist, and this book does not shy away from how animals are prepared for that. There are 2 scenes in particular that are quite hard to read, and that involve animal cruelty, so just be aware of that before you pick this up. But yeah, this was a 5-star read. Great start to my reading month, and hopefully my mood will also start picking up. It's the 5th of August and I'm feeling much better. I think I've spoken about this in previous videos, but when I have like a depressive episode or hit the wall or however you want to describe it, I always feel very detached. My depression kind of makes me very numb and I feel very outside of myself, which is obviously awful. But I kind of every time I start feeling better, I basically wake up and I feel like, I describe it as being back in my body, and I feel like I'm back in my body today, which is nice. I've had a couple of very quiet days. I've barely been on social media. I had a load of plans to like film all my September content, get all that done, but I just haven't. And instead I have spent my days watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which is my kind of comfort trash TV, and reading and cuddling the cats and napping and just taking it really slow. And it's worked because I feel much better. And today I am off to Shrewsbury to see Steph, who is I kind of describe her as my OG best friend. Like, we've known each other for nearly 20 years, which is nuts, since uni. And I'm off to spend the weekend with her. And weirdly, Facebook memories reminded me today that it's exactly a year ago today that we went to Hay-on-Wye and we spent a week there, which was the last time I saw her. So I'll link the first half of my August wrap up from last year, because that's got our Hay trip in it, and it was also the very first video where I worked out how to put music under b-roll clips. So yeah, it's been a year since I've been vlogging this way, which is quite exciting. So yeah, I'm gonna go and see her for a couple of days. It's Friday today. I've got Friday, Saturday, come back Sunday, and then on Monday Gary and I go to Wales. So I feel like my holiday is like properly kicking off now. I feel like I've had like the quiet, restful bit, the recharge bit, and now we're going to get into the fun stuff. So yes, that's what I'm doing today. I do have also 2 books to talk about, one of which you just saw in clips because it arrived yesterday and I read it yesterday, and that is, and yes, I nearly hit myself in the head with it, Egyptian Gods, written by our very own Menzies, Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts. Also the incredible illustrations are by Katie Ponder, and I mean, this is just unreal. Jean did Greek myths last year or the year before, I can't remember. I think it might have been the year before, but I only read it last year because I'm a terrible friend. And this is obviously the Egyptian version. I love both. They're both incredible, and I will show you some of the illustrations. I mean, this is just the contents page, and it's ridiculous. I think I enjoyed this one slightly more. Like, I can't wait to take these to school. My kids are going to be obsessed. I think I enjoyed this one slightly more, but only because with the Greek ones, I knew a little bit about, this is the last page I'll show you, but like, seriously. I knew a little bit about Greek myths, and I'd read a few like Greek retellings and Greek plays and stuff. Whereas with the Egyptian myths, I knew basically nothing. So yeah, it was really, really interesting, and I read it in about an hour or so, and it was a lovely, lovely time. And obviously I've given it 5 stars, would highly recommend. I'm going to get copies. I'm going to get our school library. I say our school library as if we have a librarian. We don't. We have a small room and 4 very stressed out English teachers that try and do our best. But I'm going to get some copies of this one and Greek myths. I think we've already got Greek myths, so I'm going to get a couple of copies of this for the school library because the kids will absolutely love it. So yeah, highly recommend that one. 5 stars. And then a book I finished this morning, if I can pick it up, another non-fiction. This is Monster, She Wrote, The Women Who Pioneered Horror and Speculative Fiction by Lisa Kroger and Melanie R. Anderson. I really enjoyed this. This is basically a trip through history, and it goes through chronologically. And it starts in the 1600s with Margaret Cavendish, and it goes right up almost to modern, well, it goes into modern times. I was going to say almost up to date, but like into modern times, and it looks at the women who write horror and speculative fiction, and it looks at their works, and it gives you a bit of context on them. It's split into 8 sections, so they are The Founding Mothers, Haunting Tales, Cult of the Occult, The Women Who Wrote the Pulps, Haunting the Home, Paperback Horror, The New Goths, and then The Future of Horror and Speculative Fiction. I really liked that it looked at where they think the genres are going. And then in each section you've got a handful of women that they've picked out. Each section also has like an introduction, which I really liked, just to kind of explain and kind of set the scene for what you're going to go on and read. I did find this in places a little bit repetitive, and also because it's partly my fault because I don't have a massive knowledge of the history of the genres, but some of the women I was a bit unsure of why I should care. Like, they sometimes led with the works that these women have produced, whereas actually I think it would have been better to start with a bit about the women and then lead into that, because by the time we got to that part of it, I was still like, I don't know why I care about this person. But that's just me, and like I said, I did find it a bit repetitive. So giving it 4 stars, I would really recommend it. It's also probably one of the most beautiful books I own. because this is the naked, I love a naked hardback. As we know, I can't really deal with dust jackets. And it's so pretty. And yeah, if you've been thinking about this or picking or like looking at this book before, I would really recommend this. This would obviously be really good for like October-y time. I also would say that it's definitely extended my reading list. I was like, oh, I want to read that, I want to read that, I want to read that. So it was definitely good for that. 4 stars. And now I'm off to go and see my best friend, let off some steam and have some fun. It's the 8th of August, and as you can see, I've had a great couple of days. I'm actually slightly losing my voice, which is what happens when you stay up until late talking nonsense with your best friend. It was just so good for my soul. I think I said it in my previous clip, but the last time I saw Steph was last August, like exactly a year to the day. It was really weird how that worked out. So it was just so nice to see her and be able to have like proper in-depth chats. And you know, we went out for dinner with her boyfriend John, and we went to Beefy Boys, which was amazing, as you saw from the clips. We had cocktails and spent time with her dog Jubei, who is a Shiba Inu, because every time I post any pictures of him online I get questions about what kind of breed he is. He's just the most lovely dog. And we went to the sweet shop, spent 30 quid on sweets because I'm a grown-up. I regret nothing, to be fair. And then we finished off with a trip to Planet Donut, which, as you saw, they are epic donuts, which I brought back for the boys as well yesterday. I saw Charlie for about 10 minutes because we were a bit like ships in the night. As I was getting home, he was pretty much getting ready to go back to his mum, but we've got 2 weeks with him coming up next week and the week after, so that'll be good. And then today, Gary and I are off to Wales, so we're just getting ready to go. I am logging out as much as I can from my phone and the internet for this week. I'm just really excited. We're going to a farm on the coast, and we've got a little cottage there, and we're just going to read and stuff. I will film like some B-roll. I may or may not film sit down clips while we're there. I don't know yet. I'm hoping I will finish loads of books. I think I'm taking 7 books for 5 days, which seems reasonable. So I'm sure I will finish books, because literally we're just going to sleep, read and eat. Like, that's the plan, and maybe go to the beach if we can be bothered to leave where we are. And it's just going to be a nice time, just the 2 of us, which we really need and I'm excited for. So yes, whilst I was at Steph's, I finished Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. Now, this is a book that has been massively hyped in the book community in general, but also directly to me, because there are loads of people who have directly recommended this and were like, you need to read it because you will love it. And I've seen really good reviews. So many people have loved it, like Emma from Drinking by My Shelf loved it, Amelia from Amelia Barlow Books loved it, Charlie from Charlie Brooks loved it, and loads of other people as well. So as you can see from the front, it was shortlisted for the 2021 Booker Prize. It was also shortlisted for the 2022 Women's Prize for Fiction. And it's historical fiction, so we're following several points of view, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the main two storylines, we are following Marion in between the wars, and she wants to be a pilot, and she sets out after World War II to do the Great Circle, which is to fly around the world from pole to pole. And then her plane disappears during that flight, and then we are in modern day and we're following somebody else, Hadley, who is playing Marion in the film version. And first of all, I want to say I did really enjoy this. I thought it was really well done. It's beautifully written. Like, she's an incredible writer. I can see where people are raving about this, and I definitely want to try more of her books. Amelia mentioned a short story collection in her recent wrap-up, which looks really interesting and that I will definitely get around to at some point. It's a real sweeping story, family saga, basically. I was expecting it to be Marion's journey and Hadley's journey kind of back and forth, and they do weave together, but they're not the only perspectives you get. You also get Marion's twin brother Jamie. You get Caleb, who is Marion's childhood sweetheart. They have a slightly weird relationship, and then a couple of other people kind of along the way get woven in. I thought this was really cleverly done. I gave it 4 stars, and I know a lot of people will be shocked or disappointed that I didn't give it 5. I really enjoyed it. It just did not give me that 5-star feel. It just didn't. There was something in it that for me was missing. It's gorgeously written. I thought some of it was quite slow and a little bit ploddy. It's got some really interesting things to say. It's got interesting perspective on the wars. It's got several love stories woven in, or like almost love stories, and I think it's a really realistic portrayal of just how messy and confusing life can be and how difficult it can be. It choked me up a few times. I need to give a few content warnings. There is a rape scene in this, and also sexual assault. It's a difficult book. Like, it's some of it is tough reading. I enjoyed my reading experience, but yeah, it wasn't a 5-star for me. And I feel like that's an unpopular opinion, but that was my experience. So I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad so many people told me to, because I feel like it's one I might have put off for a while if people hadn't directly been going, you should read this. So thank you so much to those of you that recommended it. 4 stars is still a really good high rating. It is also very long. It's nearly 700 pages, and I felt like it didn't need to be quite that long. But I enjoyed the reading experience, and I will read more from Maggie Shipstead. She can definitely write. It's the 14th of August and I'm officially melted. I've got every window open, so I'm sorry for background noise because I cannot close them today. It's 36 degrees here. It's been 36 degrees for the last 2 days. and I'm struggling, which is also why I look like a thumb because I cannot have any like hair touching me. Like, oh, this is also because my husband was laughing at me for putting a jumper on. This is really, really thin. It's actually just a long sleeve t-shirt, but I need to just keep my shoulders covered because it's so hot here. We had an absolutely incredible time in Wales, as you hopefully saw from the b-roll. We just had the most idyllic week, and I thought a couple of times like, oh, I need to film a sit down clip for the vlog, and I was like, oh, maybe tomorrow, maybe later, and then it just never happened. Just so relaxed. I was away from my phone. We were in this cottage literally in the middle of nowhere in like the valleys of Wales, and all we did was sleep and eat and read. I napped several times in the hammock, which was underneath the trees, which was just beautiful. And yeah, it was just a really idyllic week. It was perfect. I have also read 7 books since the last time I spoke to you, and I've had 1 come in from a publisher, so this is going to be a fairly long clip. When I started the August vlog, I was like, right, I'm going to vlog every single time I finish a book. I'm going to pick up my camera / my phone, and it's just not worked out that way. So I hope this is okay. So let's get into the books that I've been reading. So the first book that I finished was The Roommate by Rosie Dannon. This was recommended to me by Aoife at Pretty Purple Polka Dots, and then it was her that put it onto my August TBR. This was also my pick for Spicy Read for the summer mixtape. I loved this. I went in with fairly low expectations. I don't read a lot of romance. If you've been watching my channel, you know that. And Aoife recommended this off the back of the Brown Sisters trilogy, which I really enjoyed. So I was like, yeah, expecting it to be like a 3.5, 4 star. I gave this 5 stars. Like, how did that happen? Sorry, I've got Mel and Chloe's reading sprints on over here, which is just slightly distracting me. I gave this 5 stars. I thought this was amazing. This is about a girl called Clara who is like very straight-laced, typical like good girl, and she moves to LA to pursue a guy that she likes, and that guy tells her at the beginning of the book that he's rented out his room for the summer, and she thought they were going to be roommates. He's rented it out to Josh instead, and she meets Josh, and it's the kind of, it's not quite enemies to lovers, it's like friends to lovers. Josh is a male porn star, and Clara is kind of very sexually repressed, and it's about, first of all, their friendship, and then it becomes more. But the thing I think the reason I gave it 5 stars is there's also loads of discussion about the sex industry and about the way that performers are treated, and the pitfalls of it. And Clara and Josh, isn't it? Yeah. Decide basically to set out and try and make some changes in the industry, and I just loved how that was dealt with. It's super sex positive, it's very spicy, there are several sexy scenes in this, which again I thought handled really well. It's, as I said, it's sex positive. There is discussions about safe sex, and like I said, I really liked all the stuff to do with the kind of sex industry and all of that stuff. And it's also just this really lovely love story, and one of the things that I need in books like this, in romance books, I need an actual storyline. Like, if you take the naughty bits out, I need there to be a good storyline, and there definitely is for this. So I gave this 5 stars, thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Aoife, for recommending it and putting it on my TBR, and whoever was my Christmas Secret Santa who sent this to me, thank you very, very much. The next one that I read was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Leigh. This was, I've got my August TBR list here. This was put on my TBR, I think it was Hayley. Yeah, it was Hayley from Hayley's Bite Size Reviews, who put this on my TBR, and then it was also gifted to me by Jo. Yeah, lovely Jo from Bookstagram. This was a reread for me. I did this for GCSE, so a long time ago, like nearly 20 years ago. Yeah, basically like next year will be 20 years. Wow. This was the GCSE text that I studied, and I've not read it since. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a classic. We are following Scout, who is a 9-year-old girl. We're in 1933, I think, in the Deep South. She is a white girl, and her father, Atticus, who is a white lawyer, is given the job of defending a black man who is accused of raping a white woman. And it's very much about, obviously, racism. It's about the trial, but it's all from Scout's perspective. So it's very much the perspective of a child growing up, going about her business, enjoying her summer holidays. There's a reclusive neighbour who lives down the road called Boo Radley, who kind of fascinates Scout and her brother, and it's all about that. And then like interspersed with it is like the grown-ups are basically acting weird and she's trying to work out what's going on. I gave this 4 stars on reread. I think this is beautifully written. It was written in the 50s, and so obviously a lot of the language, or some of the language in this, is not what we would use now. There is repeated uses of both N-words, which is obviously uncomfortable to read. And the way that certain people are treated in this is uncomfortable, but it's that like uncomfortable truth of how things were and how things in some places in the world continue to be. I love Scout's point of view. I love Harper Lee's writing, and I think from when it was written, I think it was handled well. So I gave this 4 stars. I did enjoy my reread. I was rereading it partly just because I haven't read it for a long time, and partly because there was some discussion in our faculty about teaching this and putting it back on the curriculum. Personally, my vote will be for no, just because of how much problematic language there is. And also I think it would be more interesting and better to look at this topic from a black author's perspective rather than a white one, or a person of colour, an author, POC author, just because I'm not sure if the kids need a white point of view on this. I think it would be better to have an own voice's point of view. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. Thank you very much, Hayley, for putting this on my TBR, and Joe for sending it. Then I read Felix Ever After. Oh, this was also my prompt for Books Set in Another Country for the readathon. Then I did Nature on the Cover, which was Felix Ever After by Case & Calendar, and I'm still like fully obsessed with this. This was sent to me by the lovely Charlotte from Books and Bargains, and it was put on my TBR by Charlotte. And this is following Felix, who is a trans boy, and he one day gets to college, and someone has is it college or like high school? It's American, but he's like 17, 18, so in my head it's our version of college, but I think it might be like the end of high school. I don't know, the American education system confuses me. Anyway, he gets to school, and all over the foyer of his school are pictures of him before his transition and using his dead name, and he is trying to work out who has done this and why. And it's very much him like working out what his next steps are going to be, trying to get to the bottom of this mystery, his friendship group and all of that stuff. And he's also questioning, oh, I've got a dead leg already, questioning his kind of gender identity, and I found all of that fascinating. I gave this 5 stars. This is stunningly written. I think this is currently Charlotte's favourite book of the year, and I can absolutely see why. It was a really, really interesting look at Felix's experience. It was a really interesting look at found family. I was surprised at who it turned out to be. I had a couple of suspects in mind, and it wasn't either of them, and I love when a book can do that. And I just thought it was beautifully written, so I would definitely look for more from this author, and definitely pick it up when it comes out, because yeah, that was a 5 star, so well done, Charlotte, thank you for that. I then read, that was the end of, let's just wait for the motorbike to go past, my mixtape. Completed that, so that's good. So I then went and picked up the arc that I had for the month, and that was Stoneblind by Natalie Haynes. This comes out in September. I feel like it's the 15th of September, and this is a Medusa retelling. It's also got one of the most beautiful covers that I've ever had for an arc, like so nice. Oh yeah, we still got 35 minutes on the sprint, it's fine. And yes, this is the author of 1,000 Ships, which I read last month and enjoyed. I gave this 4 stars. I think what I was expecting was a story purely about Medusa and from Medusa's point of view. And it's not. A lot like 1,000 Ships, which is the only other Natalie Haynes I've read. You get a whole load of points of view and different stories are kind of weaved together. And I found that, if I'm honest, a little bit frustrating, because I was like, I want to be in Medusa's point of view. It was beautifully written. It was cleverly done. There was something slightly missing for me to connect to it emotionally, which is why I couldn't give it 5 stars, but it was a strong 4 and I really enjoyed it. And I want to go back and read, I think there's a list in the back of this book of what she's written. I want to read Pandora's Jar, and is it Children? Oh yeah, The Children of Jocasta as well from her. She's definitely an author I'm enjoying. I just haven't had that like 5-star moment with her yet, but this was really good. It's going to be huge when it comes out, I just know it. And if you enjoy things like Circe by Madeline Miller or Ariadne by Jennifer Saint, all of those kind of things, this will also be for you. So yeah, 4 stars, really enjoyed that. Then my official reread for the month, I know that I reread To Kill a Mockingbird, but that was on my reread list. So I picked up The Wife Between Us by Grier, Hendrix and Sarah Pekkinen. This was their debut. I've said before, I've read, I think, almost all of their other books. I think the only one I haven't read is An Anonymous Girl. And that's because it got spoiled for me on the internet. Thanks, Twitter. This was their debut. And when I first read it, which was a few years ago when it came out, I want to say like 2017, 2018, I gave this 5 stars. So I was intrigued to read it again and see if that's still the case. I gave it 3 stars this time. It was a 3.5, but I don't do half stars, so I rounded it down. I'm going to read you the back because I don't want to give spoilers, and I feel like the back is what captured me. So it says, when you read this book, you will make many assumptions. It's about a jealous wife obsessed with her replacement. It's about a younger woman set to marry the man she loves. The first wife seems like a disaster. Her replacement is the perfect woman. You will assume you know the motives, the history, the anatomy of the relationships. You will be wrong. So this has got several twists in it. I still stand by the fact that I think that the main twist in this is incredibly cleverly done, and I loved it. Obviously, I knew what it was going back in a second time, but I still enjoyed the reading experience. It did not impact my reading experience at all, and I actually loved rereading it, knowing what was happening and like seeing all the little clues that there are. But I thought after that twist, and obviously I won't say where that is in the book because that's a spoiler, it felt a little bit draggy. I also didn't love, now we've got a plane going overhead, that's fun. I think they're going to land in my garden, which should be interesting because my garden is a postage stamp. I didn't love the way that the female characters were pitted against each other, and you kind of know that that's what's going to be going in because it's called The Wife Between Us, but for some reason that just dragged on me a little bit this time. And yes, it wasn't the 5-star experience I had the first time around. I think, like I said, it was a 3.5. It might have been 3.75 if I was being generous, but we've landed on a 3-star rating because I don't do part stars, so there we go. So those were all the books that I read in Wales, and then seriously, like, it was very good reading time. And then we came home and I finished 2 books since we've been back. So the first one that I read, I started this in Wales and then finished it the day we got back. This is The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. This was very kindly, I was just thinking, do I need to say who put this on my TBR? But no, this is my reread. Oh, and also Stoneblind was sent to me very kindly by Book Break in exchange for an honest review, which I have done. I was then sent The Comfort Book by Matt Haig a couple of months ago. It came in this amazing PR package, like one of the best I've ever been sent, by the publishers, which is Canongate. I know my publishers. This was sent to me by Canongate. And this is a collection of kind of, it's like almost essays, but some of them are really, really short. If I just flick through, you can see like some are longer than others. And it's just about, it says a collection of consolations learned in hard times and suggestions for making the bad days better. And it was just really lovely. I am someone, if this is your first video of mine that you've watched, I'm someone who's had a lot of therapy and I've read quite a lot of these books before, these kinds of books before. So it didn't bring me anything new, but for what it was, I thought it was done really well. And I feel like if you know someone who's going through a hard time, this might be a really like nice little gift for them. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It definitely did what it was aiming to do. And it was my first Matt Haig, but I would definitely read more by him because he's a beautiful writer. So yeah, I enjoyed this little book. And then yesterday I read The First Day of Spring by Nancy Tucker, which if you saw my book haul with Leanne, which I will link in the description, you will know that she shoved this into my hands and Jean's hands while we were in Edinburgh, was like, you have to read this. This is currently her favourite book of the year, and having read it, I can absolutely see why. I gave this 5 stars. It made me sob, like streaming, ugly crying. I do really love this cover. However, I don't think it suits the book because to me this cover reads as a thriller. This is not a thriller. To me this is literary fiction. And it absolutely broke my heart. The hardcover I much prefer, and also the American hardcover is really beautiful. I will link April from Getting Huckle with its July wrap up. She also read it last month and it was her favourite book of the month. I think she said it's her favourite book of the year so far. And like the American Canadian cover, because April's Canadian is much nicer than this, and I'm going to try and get a hardcover copy. Also partly because this one just got damaged on my flight home from Edinburgh, which is annoying. But anyway, in this book we are following Chrissy. She is 8 years old, and at the start of the book she kills a child, and she is very excited. She enjoys killing this child. She enjoys the power it gives her, and we are following her life. And then we are skipping forward 15 years later to Julia, who is trying to raise a 5-year-old girl called Molly. And this book is about poverty. It is about the damage that poverty does. It's about the ways that poverty changes and warps people. It is about motherhood. It is about friendship. It's about abuse. It's about mental health. It's about addiction. And it just ripped my heart out and smashed it to bits, and then handed me back the fragments. And that is the best way I can describe this. I will read anything else Nancy Tucker brings out. I know that she's done a couple of non-fiction books. This is her fiction debut. Any other fiction she brings out I will be straight onto. This was absolutely breathtaking, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. Check content warnings, make sure you're in a good headspace, but don't go into this expecting a thriller, which is what this cover says to me. It really isn't. It's heartbreaking, and I adored it. Okay, I've been talking for 16 minutes and I've got one more book to talk about, because the lovely people at Book Break sent me Leech by Hiran Ennis, and I don't think I requested this, but it sounds really good. And this cover is very creepy, and this comes out on the 29th of September, so I'm going to do my best to squeeze it into this TBR, so you might see me read this. If not, it will go into October. I mean, how creepy is that? I don't know if that's what the final book will look like, but it's creepy. And it's described as a gothic horror, I think, and it's something to do about a death of a doctor, and then there's a parasite, and in the dark depths of the castle already a pit of secrets and lies it's spreading. With the other inhabitants trapped inside by the freezing winter winds, these two enemies will battle for ultimate control. The question is not who will make it out alive, but what, and that just sounds really good. So yeah, I'm going to try and fit this in this month. My reading, as you can see, is going great guns, so hopefully I'll be able to fit that in. Today I am, oh it's over there, I can't get it now. I'm about to start the ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Bit nervous to start that because it's out of my comfort zone. Gary and I got back on Friday, so we had Friday evening because the traffic coming home was horrific. It took us like 5.5 hours to get home. Should have taken 3 hours. I've had a couple of days just to chill. Well, chill. The weather's been horrifically hot. I've had no sleep, which is why we look like this, but it's fine. We move. So today I have no plans. I did all my chores yesterday morning before it got too hot. So I'm gonna relax the rest of today. I'm gonna watch more of Chloe and Mel's sprints, which I will also link in the description. They're on Mel's channel. Really recommend them. They're really fun together. So I'm gonna watch some more of those. Start Ninth House and relax today, and then tonight we've got the closing show for Mixtape, which I will also link in the description, and then tomorrow Charlie arrives and we are off to Nottingham for our family adventure. So still lots of good things to come. I just wish the temperature could drop by about 10 degrees. It's 20th of August and we are home again. And as you've seen, aside from B-roll, I filmed nothing while we were away. I am sorry, I did fully intend to be better at vlogging this month, but it's just not happening. We had an absolutely lovely time whilst we were away. We stayed in this really cool, as you saw, like cabin, a lodge thing. It was a bit like if a cabin and a tent had a baby, because like the walls, the floor and the walls were wood and then the roof was canvas, and it was just really, really cool. Charlie got to sleep up in this really cool loft space. I can't remember if I took a shot of that or not, because it was really small, so it's really hard to get a decent view of, but we just had the best time. We also had our own hot tub and a fire pit, which we also used as a barbecue, and yeah, it was just really good. We spent one of the days at a water park, and I have the bruises to prove it, but I am very proud of myself, because with my dyspraxia I find stuff like that really hard because my coordination is rubbish, basically. But I was able to do most of the course with the boys, and they even managed to get me up on one of the big slides. There was a lot of screaming and some not so mild swearing happening, but I did get up there twice, so that was really good. So I had a really fun day doing that, and yeah, it was just nice to have some time together. We're now back home. Charlie and I are only here for a couple of days, and then on Monday we pack up again and we're going down to my mum's, but today we are going out to celebrate my mother-in-law's birthday, which is on Thursday, and my birthday, which is in 8 days time from now. I think it's like next Sunday, which is super weird. I really am not in like birthday mode at all. I love birthdays and I'm always excited to celebrate other people's as well as my own, but like this year I'm just kind of not really feeling it yet, but I'm sure that will come. But yeah, we're gonna go out. I'm obviously gonna get out my Darth Vader t-shirt. We're gonna go to a local Italian restaurant that we love, that Chris and I love, my mother-in-law. We go there quite a bit for dinner, just the two of us, which is always a lovely time. And then come back here for birthday cake, and Chris has created our birthday cake. She is our family cake maker. She is cake maker extraordinaire. I'm really excited to see what she's done. She said that she's chosen a shape, because she doesn't just do like a birthday cake, she will do shapes and all kinds of stuff. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen her creations before, because I always post them there. She said that she's chosen something that represents both of us, and I'm genuinely intrigued to see what she's done this time. So yeah, obviously I'll put that in as B-roll. So that'll be a nice chill time, and then tomorrow there'll be like chores and stuff, because I haven't done like a food shop in about 3 weeks, so that needs doing, stuff like that. And then Charlie and I are off on Monday, but I do have a stack of books. I've only got one that I finished. My reading's definitely dropped. I've got one I finished, 2 DNFs, and then 2 books that I bought for a thing. But there we go. Anyway, the book that I finished was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This was picked for my TBR by Kath at Happily Ever Books. So thank you very much, Kath. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to. I also enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to once I'd read the first 100 pages. It took a while to get going. This is Leigh Bardugo's adult debut. It's very definitely adult. There are loads of content warnings for this. Please check before you pick it up. And we are following, is it Alex? Yeah, Alex. I actually remembered a character name. Check me out. We are following Alex, who is at Yale University, is Yale, yes, after a trauma, and she is put in charge of keeping an eye on the houses, and the houses all have different kind of magical powers, I guess, and they're like secret societies, like the rest of Yale doesn't know about them, and that's all I can really tell you, and we're following her, and that's all I can tell you without giving spoilers. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it. It's very dark. There are content warnings for rape, sexual assault, kind of coercive control, like magical coercive control, toxic relationships, physical assault, physical violence. A lot of it's very visceral violence. There's also kind of scenes of surgery. There's also, for those of you who are emetophobic, don't pick this one up because there is vomit in it. There's a lot going on. It was slow. I think that's the problem I have with Leigh Bardugo's writing, is it's slow, and I also didn't connect emotionally. I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed how dark it was. I enjoyed the mystery that's in this. I really want to read the next one because it's left in a really good way that like leads you into the next book. It's not out till January, and I wouldn't pay for the hardback. I also really hate that cover with the white rabbit. White rabbits, I think there's 2 of them. But I enjoyed the skill of the writing. Oh, I think we're shaking a little bit because the washing machine's finished, so apologies for that. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I did enjoy it, gave it 4 stars, but I was also a little bit bored whilst reading it. Like, parts of it I was like, oh, this is really good and we're going to get going now, and it didn't quite. So I didn't get the 5-star feeling, but I did still give it 4. So yeah, it was a good read, definitely better than the other book of hers that I read that bored me senseless. This was better for me. And then I've had 2 DNFs, so there's that. The first one that I DNF'd was Froggy Music by Emma Donoghue. I'm not having much luck with Emma Donoghue at the moment. This is her backlist though. I was very kindly sent this by Book Break. They sent this to me when they sent me Haven, and I've DNF'd both books, which makes me feel really bad. I did get, this is quite long, and I did get like 200 pages in, so I got a fair chunk in, and we are in New Orleans we're in San Francisco in 1876, and we're following Blanche, who is a French woman who is living in the city, and there is an epidemic happening, and we're following her life, and it starts with a murder. So I was like, oh, this is going to be really exciting, and that was the only exciting thing that happened, and I was 200 pages in and like nothing else was going on, and it was just like, oh, I'm bored. So I DNF'd that one, so I'm sorry. Who chose that for me? That was chosen by Marianne at Copper Books. I'm sorry. And then Olivia Savannah at Olivia's Catastrophe picked me Leigh Wife. Her and I were both really excited for this, and then she gave it 2 stars last month, so I was a little bit apprehensive going into it. She read it after she'd picked it for my TBR, and this is telling the untold story of Lear's queen, as in King Lear, as in Shakespeare. And again, I read book 1, I got up to book 2, and I was like, I still don't know what the point of this is. Parts of it was stunningly written, like beautifully written, but it was just really boring, and there was no plot, and I was like, I don't care. And also our protagonist, who is unnamed, she's just really unlikable, and I don't mind an unlikable protagonist as long as there's a plot, but it felt like there was no plot, and I also didn't like her, so that was another DNF. So that's 2. And then I've actually bought 3 books, but only 2 of them have arrived so far. This is for a video project. I've never done a themed vlog before, and I had this idea a while ago and then kind of put it to one side, and then I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, let's just do it. So we're going to do it in October. I'm not going to tell you what the project is, although if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably already worked out what it is. But the 2 books that arrived were My Name is Victoria by Lucy Worsley, and it says the life of a princess is full of secrets. And yeah, this is about Victoria Conway, I think, who was a companion of Queen Victoria. And I've never read a Lucy Worsley book before, but I've seen quite a few of hers, and I'm like, oh, that looks quite appealing. So I picked this one up. So that will be one of the reads for October. And then the other one that I've picked up is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. This has been absolutely everywhere. And this is about Rachel, who goes home with her boyfriend to Singapore. Why can't I speak today? She goes home for the summer to Singapore with her boyfriend Nick, and he turns out to be crazy rich, and it's about her experience, I think, and it's kind of like a fish out of water kind of vibe. So these are 2 of the books of the project, and then the 3rd one should be arriving on Monday, so I will probably show you that when I inevitably do another clip next weekend. But if you can work it out, let me know. But that's for a project. So now I need to go get ready. I have put on mascara. That's what passes as makeup around here. I need to go get my glad rags on and go and do some birthday stuff. it's the 21st of August, and I look like a thumb. I'm also wearing the same like house t-shirt that I was wearing when I updated you yesterday. But I finished a book late last night, so I thought I would actually get my act together and come on and update you. Plus, I had some really exciting book mail. Like, the noise that came out of me when I opened the parcel was unreal. So yeah, I thought I'd update you. It's Sunday. We had a lovely time yesterday with the family. Went, as I said, to one of our favourite local restaurants and for food, and then my amazing mother-in-law created that amazing birthday cake which I put in the B-roll, which was the cat playing in the knitting, and yeah, it was just a lovely time. I also got from I was going to call her my sister-in-law, but I think it's a bit early to buy a hat, from my brother-in-law's girlfriend, lovely Maisie. She was kind enough to get me a little birthday present, because I opened presents from Charlie, which was the custom, oh it's up here actually, the customised milk tray. For anyone that doesn't know, milk tray is my absolute favourite. Not sponsored, but if Cadbury want to sponsor me, let me know. Doubtful, but worth a try. And he got me this amazing huge box of chocolates with this fabulous like customised sleeve on it, so I had that. He also got me Angry Cat or Grumpy Cat slippers, which I'm obsessed with. So I opened those because he's not going to be with us next weekend. And then I also opened a lovely birthday cards from my brother-in-law Dean and his girlfriend Maisie. Dean also got me a book voucher, which is very exciting. I'm going to save it until I'm about 3 weeks into term next month and everything feels like too much, and then I will go into Waterstones and treat myself to a book, which will be lovely. But Maisie also got me this, which is a Handmaid's Tale bookmark, which is just really exciting. First of all, it's very cool, and secondly, look, it's just really kind of her to bother, so that was nice. And then I finished reading Leech by Hiran Ennis. I'm really hoping I'm saying that correctly. As you saw earlier in the vlog, this was sent to me by Book Break in exchange for an honest review. This comes out in September. I want to say like the 15th. No, 29th. Total lie. This is horror. This is sci-fi. This is speculative fiction. This is weird. This properly made my skin crawl. This is not one to read whilst you're eating, let's put it that way. It's definitely not for everybody. Content warnings for rape, sexual assault, very graphic surgery scenes, a very graphic birth scene, just all the stuff. It's got body horror in it. It was a time. It's taken me quite a while to read. It's only like 320 pages, but I had to keep putting it down because I was like, oh, I can only read a little bit of this at a time. So it's difficult to really tell you about this. We are following a doctor who goes to a wealthy family's house to replace their doctor who's just died, and they are trying to work out how the previous doctor died, and then at the same time they are dealing with this parasitic epidemic, I guess is the best way to put it. It's a debut novel. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was really good. It's very creepy, very atmospheric, it's very gothic-y. It kind of reminded me of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. It reminded me of books like The Turn of the Screw, not the Ruth Ware version, by Henry James. It reminded me of The Picture of Dorian Gray, all of that kind of like classic literature. There's also some sci-fi elements. We don't know where we are in time. We don't know where we are in the world. It's hinted at that something has happened. Some kind of global phenomenon has happened, which has created the Institute, which is where the Doctor is from, and there's stuff going on there. I thought this was great. It was about, you've got all the kind of like horror stuff going on, which just goes completely crazy by the end of the book. But it's also beautifully written. There are parts of this I was like, this is absolutely stunningly, like poetically written. And it's about what it means to be human. And it's about loneliness. And it's about pain. And it's about how pain can get passed down from generation to generation. How trauma can get passed down from generation to generation. And I thought it was really clever. I enjoyed this a lot. Like I said, it's out at the end of September, which is why I was reading it this month. I'm glad I was reading it in the blazing sunshine because, yeah, on a like dark night this would be properly scary, I think. But if you're into horror and you're interested in any of the stuff I've talked about, I would recommend this. Give it 4 stars. We'll definitely read more from the author. So yeah, really enjoyed that one, so thank you, Book Break. And then I got mail from Leanne. So I bought some books off her this month, and that's quite unusual because amongst my bookish friends we usually just trade books, because if I pay someone a £5 for postage one month, then probably the next month I'm going to send them some books and they're going to send me a £5, and we're just passing the £5 around. So generally we just kind of trade books, and it's just kind of understood that, you know, eventually everyone will get books. But these were special edition and very expensive when she bought them. So when she mentioned she was getting rid and she offered them to me, and I was like, yes please, and I've paid her for these, because you'll see them in a second. But she's also very naughty because she also put in a very, very cute bookmark, and I love this print. Look at the little wellies, and like it's so cute. As always, I will link her in the description, but her Booktube channel is Literary Diversions, and then her Etsy store is Novel Menagerie. So we love Leanne bookmarks, and this will go into my very extensive collection. And then the books that she sent me, yes, they are the Fairy Loot Brown Sister trilogy. And like I said, the noise, look at those sprayed edges, when I opened them was unreal. I'll just show you Chloe, because you can kind of get a overview of it. So anyone that doesn't know, this is a trilogy written by Talia Hibbert, romance trilogy. I'm completely obsessed. If you've been on Booktube for more than 5 seconds, you don't need me to introduce these, but these are the hardback special editions that were done. And like, I even love just the naked hardback. They have obviously got the sprayed edges, and then they are also signed. Also, it wasn't Fairy Loot, it was a Luma Crate. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realise there's an author letter in the front. They're signed, all 3 of them are signed, and I'm just completely and entirely obsessed, and I'm now going to have to do a reread of the Brown Sisters, probably. Can I fit it into later this year? Probably not, but next year I feel like I'm going to have to do a full reread. I reread Danny Brown this year and it was still 5 stars. Absolutely loved it, loved it, loved it. Look at these sprayed edges. I've also got Charlotte from Books and Bargains sent me these ages ago, just randomly. I've also got a bookmark that goes with each one, and I was going to put them in the paperback books and then got offered the hardback, so obviously they'll go in with those. And these, I cannot pronounce that. I want to say Centella. I think Charlotte found them, if I cover my face, on, come on, Instagram, and I will try and find them and link them below. So yeah, I've got my bookmarks to go with the hardback books. It's all very exciting. It's the 24th of August and Charlie and I are having the nicest time. I am losing my voice and I realise that I look rough. And it's because, as I said, I think in my last clip, we're down at my nan's and I never sleep well when Gary and I are apart, which is pathetic, I know, but it's true. When he's not around, my sleep pattern just completely falls apart, so I'm a little bit today. We're having the best time. I think I took a little bit of B-roll, but not much, because obviously I don't include Charlie, and also I'm just really busy solo parenting this week, so I haven't had time to pick up my phone. But we've had a really good time. We drove down on Monday and then went to my mum's friend's house and swam in their very nice pool and met their pig, Humphrey. And then yesterday we went to Thorpe Lakes, which is around the back basically of Thorpe Park, and had an absolutely brilliant time there. I didn't get a shot of the water assault course that we did, because the actual assault course is quite a big walk from where you leave like your phone and stuff in lockers. What's going on with my voice? But we spent an hour on an inflatable course again on the water, which was just really fun, although trying to keep up with Charlie on my own without Gary to tag team was tough. And today I am like one massive ow. My muscles are like, what did you do? But it was really good. And then we went back to my mum's house, hung out with the dogs for a bit while she was at an appointment, and then we went for a very lovely dinner. And then today we are going, you can see the bag here, I'm just trying to get us ready, to my aunt and uncle's house. I think you can probably hear the garden in the background. My aunt and uncle's house for the day to swim in their pool, because even though it's cloudy and probably going to rain today, my water child will want desperately to be in the water all day. So we're going to do that, and then I think Mum's doing a roast for us tonight, and then have breakfast with my dad tomorrow, and then we're going home. So it's been really good, really good. It's really nice to have some time by myself with Charlie, because I don't get much of it. But I'm also exhausted. Like, this is hard, and I always am in awe of parents, especially like solo parents, but it's definitely one of those weeks where I'm like, yeah, I really admire people that can do that. So yes, it's been a good time. I did get a tiny bit of reading done. I did read most of this on Sunday before we came down on Monday, and that is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. Obviously I don't have the cover on it because I took the jacket off before we left because I didn't want it to get damaged in transit, but I am fully obsessed with this incredible naked hardback. I think it might be one of my favourite naked hardbacks ever. And this is a massively hyped book. I bought this gorgeous, this is a signed first edition. Hello. And it's got the Bonnie Garmus, the Elizabeth Zott approved stamp on it. When I was in Toppings in Edinburgh with Leanne and Harry. So I bought it as like my souvenir of going to Toppings with those two in Edinburgh, and treated myself to a signed first edition. And then I was like, well, what if I hate the book? Thankfully I loved the book. I gave it 5 stars. It was absolutely stunning. The wonderful Laura from Laura's Bookish Thoughts on Instagram messaged me when I went to Edinburgh, and she was like, I need to recommend your book, I think you'll really like it. So I was like, okay, we have very similar reading tastes. I'd already heard a bit about it and was kind of interested in it, but she was definitely the one that kind of pushed me to pick it up and buy it. And then she very kindly chose it for my August TBR, so thank you, Laura. And I know that she was nervous for me to read this because it's, I think, her favourite book of the year, or one of her favourite books of the year. I loved this. I was obsessed with this from the second I picked it up. I didn't want to put it down. I read like literally 3/4 of it on Sunday and was grumpy when I had to go to bed. And like I wanted to take it with me to the table to read during dinner, but because Charlie's there, I didn't do that. And also because we were eating pasta and I didn't want to get red sauce on it, because I definitely would. And then it's taken me a couple of days because the last couple of days have been so busy, but I've like felt it calling me all the time. And we're following Elizabeth Zott in the it starts in like 1939, and then it's kind of up to the 50s, I think, or early 60s. And we're just following her life. She is a chemist. Obviously she's a woman in an era when that's incredibly hard, and then she gets a job as a chef on TV, and she teaches cooking from a chemistry point of view, and I just loved it. You get loads of different points of view. It made me sob 3 times. I like full on like can't breathe sobbing. It made me laugh. There is a very graphic rape scene at the beginning of this, and there are also several references to sexual assault, and obviously a lot of sexism that she faces and other characters face. So it's a tricky one because it did make me laugh and it did make me cry. It also made me think. There's some quite heavy topics in here. You've also got death of a partner, which is one of my personal triggers, but thankfully I was warned before I went into this book. So there's kind of a lot going on, but the way it's written, it's just, I just wanted to consume it as fast as possible. It's also got a character called 630, who's her dog, who I'm obsessed with. It's gone literally into my like top 5 like favourite animal characters of all time. I love 630. She's got her daughter Mad as well. It's, if you've been thinking about picking this up, just do it. I absolutely loved it. It's the 26th of August and Charlie has gone home after like the quickest 2 weeks ever, Well, quick as 5 weeks, really. I can't believe I go back to work in 6 days. Anyway, yeah, we had a really nice last couple of days together. Today was pretty chill. I was really tired for some reason, and I think it was just like because I'd been like solo parenting all week with him and like away and stuff, and we had a really nice time away and staying at my nan's and everything, but it's not quite as the same as being at home. Dishwasher and the washing machine are on incidentally, so sorry about that. So yeah, I think it's just that like bit where you get home and suddenly go, I'm home. So yeah, I'm feeling quite tired and a bit sluggish today. So we've had a very quiet, chilled one. He's just been like out playing with the kids around here and all that kind of stuff, which has been good. But now he's on his way back to his mum's, so sad times. I always hate this bit, but he'll be back a week today for our weekend, so it's fine. I finished a book last night, and I had a book that had arrived whilst we were away that I had ordered. It's the other book for that video that I've mentioned. I'll show you that first. It is Vicky, Angel by Jacqueline Wilson. I haven't read a Jacqueline Wilson book in probably 20 years, so I'm kind of intrigued. And this is about a girl called Jade whose friend Vicky dies, and then Vicky's like communicating. Whoa, I definitely dropped that then. Like communicating with her from heaven or something. I bought this secondhand from Amazon, and it was described as being in very good condition. I would argue it's not in very good condition. Thankfully it was £2, otherwise I definitely would have complained. But like, oh, there's loads of pages that are folded over. It's not very like clean. It looks like it's been wet or damp, and it's just a bit like chewed, which is fine because it's a kid's book, but don't describe it as very good condition. Like the spine was super faded. Anyway, it's for a video showing you this. You probably worked out what it's about by now, but you'll see that it will come in like October or November. The book that I started while we were away and then finished is All's Well by Mona Awad. I should have checked my list before I sat down to film this clip because I can't remember who put it on my TBR. I bought this whilst I was with Leanne and Harry up in Edinburgh on our last day, our last like full day. We went book shopping. I didn't even know this was out in the UK yet, and the noise that popped out of me when I saw it in the shop was ridiculous. So I've never read a Mona Awad book. The other book that she's famous for is Bunny, which I now desperately want to read because I really enjoyed this. We are following Miranda. She is the drama teacher at an American college. I think it's college or high school or something. And this year they are putting on the play All's Well That Ends Well by William Shakespeare, which is one of his so-called problem plays because it's not a comedy and it's not a tragedy. It's kind of somewhere in between. It's not a play that gets performed very much. It's quite a rare one because it has this slightly odd feel to it, and it's not a typical Shakespearean play. There's a lot of a big question mark over who the author of the play was. Don't get me started on my Shakespeare conspiracy theories, but she is very intent on them doing All's Well, but the kids want to do, or the teenagers really, they're like, or early 20s, I think they are, I think it is college age, they want to do Macbeth and she is refusing, and you don't understand at the beginning why she's so entrenched in them doing All's Well, but it slowly unravels, and that's all I can tell you without spoilers. And it's basically a slide into complete chaos and insanity, and I really enjoyed it. It's one of the weirdest things I've read for a while, and I read a lot of weird stuff, as you'll have known if you watch any of my content. But this was just bizarre, and it deals with a lot, and I feel like it's going to take a while for me to process this book. It deals with pain, chronic illness, addiction, mental health, reality versus imagination. Lots of things going on. I've seen a couple of people who have DNF'd this because the description of chronic pain is apparently so realistic. So if that's something that you live with, you might want to be careful picking this book up, because like I said, you can go on to GoodReads and see a couple of reviews from a few different people that have like put this down, not because they didn't like it, but because it was too close to the bone, so to speak. So just be careful of that. I've given it 4 stars. Parts of it I felt like were a little bit baggy. A few times I was like, could this have been better as a novella? It's like 400 pages, I think. Oh no, 350 pages. Yeah, in a couple of places like, this could have been better as a short story or novella. But it is a completely wild ride. It's completely nuts. Lauren Groff is on the front saying wild and exhilarating. It definitely is. The ending will not be for everyone. I really liked the way the ending was done. I thought the ending made a lot of sense for the rest of the book, but it won't be for everybody. But if you like Shakespeare and if you like stuff that's a bit weird, this is possibly for you, because I really enjoyed it and I will definitely be reading more from the author. I now really want to read Bunny. So that's what I've been reading. I've now finished my August TBR. I've read so far 14 books and DNF'd 2. We've got 6 days left in the month. So I can definitely finish at least one more book, if not 2, possibly 3, if I really try. So I put a poll up on my Instagram and I was like, should I start my September TBR or should I free read? A few people said I should start my September TBR. Sorry, Maul's just sleeping just there and she's like letting out these kitten snores. It's so cute. But I feel like it's too early. I feel like I can get more into August before I start September, and like my September books, which won't be up by the time this goes up, but it will be up shortly after, I feel like they're for September. So I decided to free read, and then I realised that I don't free read because I can never choose a book by myself without like a purpose. So I am reading the next book on my TBR, basically, because if you aren't aware, I keep track of all my books as they come in, and that acts as basically like a waiting, like a queue for my books. So I'm just reading the next book in the queue, which I was excited about. I'm excited for all the books on my TBR, but I'm currently reading, as you'll have seen from the B-roll, Jean's first novel, The Flames of Albion, which I'm enjoying so far. I'm about 80 pages in and having a good time. So we'll see what I think of that once I finished it. As I said, it's the 26th of August, which means my birthday is in 2 days. There is a postal strike on right now, which I fully support people's right to strike, but it does mean that I think quite a few of my birthday cards will be delayed, but never mind, we'll just extend my birthday into the first week of September, which is no bad thing. And yeah, let's see what my birthday weekend has in store. It's the 30th of August and I have just had the nicest few days. As you saw from the clips, I had an absolutely lovely birthday. I'm going to do a full this is what I got for my birthday video. I wasn't going to. Also, what's my hair doing today? I wasn't going to, but I kind of floated the idea on Instagram and people seem to be interested. So I will put that video up. It will go up after this one, I think. But as you saw, here she is from that clip, we have got a new little buddy, haven't we? Hello. She doesn't have a name yet. I'm not sure if she's going to want to be picked up. Do you want to come and say hello? She does sometimes. Hi? No, not right now. Okay. I've put clips in so that you can see her. I thought I would just film in here on the off chance that she was interested. We've got a new little cat. Another black one, which was not a deliberate choice. I'm going to do a video kind of introducing you to the cats probably in November time. Are you playing now? I know, she's very chatty. Interested in this? No, definitely not. Good. Yeah, I'm going to do like a Meet the Cats video probably in November time, and talk about why we choose to adopt rather than buying cats. I mean, we still donated. There's a donation charge of £80 per cat, but I'll get into all that in that video for those of you that are interested. But yeah, we picked her up on Sunday, which is my birthday. She is about a year old. We think probably slightly older than that, probably more like 18 months. And really horrifically, she was found abandoned in a shipping container with her babies. She's clearly been a pet before. She's really friendly. She's not showing it just now, but she is very friendly and really cuddly. And she's got like the fur around her neck is like shorter, which is a sign that they've had a collar on at some point. So the thinking is that she was probably abandoned, which just makes me want to cry thinking about it. She could also obviously have got lost or run away or whatever, but however it was, she ended up in a shipping container with her babies, and then once they had gone to their own homes and she had healed, she could come home with us. So yeah, I picked her up Sunday and she's currently hanging out in our spare room, probably for, she's now cleaning herself, the first week or so, and then we will gradually introduce her to the rest of the gang. Molly is well aware that there is a cat in here and is very keen to get in. She's not showing any signs of aggression, just kind of curiosity. And this one cried like all night on her first night, which is normal. And Molly spent a lot of the night just lay on the, we've got cardboard to like protect the, you can see her cleaning, to protect the carpet because she's pulling quite badly. And Molly just spent like half the night lay on the cardboard on the other side of the door, just making like little like cooing noises. So I think hopefully she'll be okay. Jack wasn't aware that there was a cat in here because, as we know, we love Jack, but he's a bit of an idiot until yesterday when he caught sight of her when I opened the door, and he's in a bit of a grump, but he'll be okay. He was a little bit aggressive when we got Molly, so we'll obviously watch him and Molly, and we'll be doing introductions really slowly. But yeah, over the next couple of weeks or so we will introduce her to the gang. Charlie will also meet her on Friday when he comes, which is really exciting, and we don't have a name for her yet. We've got, oh, you can see her a bit now. We've got several names on the shortlist. But it always takes us a while, and I don't think we'll really pick one till Charlie gets here. If we do decide on one before the end of August, obviously I will put it in when I come in to do the wrap up. But didn't just come to talk to you about the new cat, as exciting as that is. I've also finished a book, and I was sent a book by a publisher. So the book that I finished was The Flames of Albion by Jean Z. Menzies, who's our very own Jean from Jean's Bookish Thoughts. This is her debut adult fiction novel that she self-published last year, and this is fantasy with dragons in it, and I enjoyed it. It was really cute. It's like I can't remember what word she used to describe it, but it's not like dark fantasy. It's like cozy fantasy. And we're following, oh my gosh, I literally finished this last night, Adaria, I hope I'm saying that right, who lives in Albion, which is the city, and the monarchy has been abolished like 100 years before. And she was an orphan that was left at the university, and she's kind of lived there ever since, and she's very bookish and kind of introverted and stuff. And then one day a dragon's egg that they thought was a fossil hatches while she's cleaning it. Like, she basically touches it and it starts to hatch and go through that process. And that's what I'm really going to say about the story. It's really lovely, it's cozy, it's queer, we've got lots of different rep in the book. It's got a really lovely love story. I really loved the dragon like lore and the way that Jean's done that. I'm no expert, as you know if you've been watching this channel. I don't read fantasy, so I'm not sure if that's what Jean's made up herself or if that's like accepted dragon lore, but I really enjoyed it either way, and I really liked the connection between Adaria and her dragon Fia, I think it is. So yeah, it's the first in a series, I think. I know she's writing a second one. I don't know if it's going to be like just 2 books or a long series, but I enjoyed this and it was fun, and I feel like if you're looking for a way to get into fantasy, this might be a good one, because I'm not a fantasy reader and I gave it 4 stars. So there was that. Then the lovely people at Book Break sent me An Ocean Apart by Sarah Leigh. This comes out in September. Let me get the press release. Yeah, 29th of September, so I will be whacking this on my September TBR and trying to read it maybe before publication, but like hopefully by the end of September. And this is about the Windrush generation. So it's 1954, and in Barbados, Ruby Haynes spots an advertisement for young women to train as nurses for the new National Health Service in Great Britain. Her sister Connie takes some persuading, but soon they are on their way to a new country and a whole new world of experiences. So I'm going to kind of stop there, but it says that it's inspired by real life stories and her mother's own experiences as a nurse coming to Britain from the Caribbean. And it's a debut novel, and it's been kind of compared to, as it says up here, Call the Midwife meets Small Island. So that looks really interesting. I'm not sure if I requested this or if this is just one they sent me, but I will definitely read it, and it looks really interesting, and yeah, hopefully it'll be good. And those are almost all of the books that I read in the month of August. It's now the 31st of August. I go back to school tomorrow. Oh my gosh. So as you can see, I'm in my filming setup. I'm having a filming day today, so all of my September content pretty much is being filmed today. So I thought I would just come in and wrap up whilst we've got like a decent background. You can see some of my birthday cards. This one is one of my personal favourites. This was from Marianne at Couple Books, and it's got all these Shakespeare puns on it, and it's a great card. And then also this one from Charlie with a black cat on it saying, I heard it was your birthday. Made me laugh a lot. But yeah, I'm just about to sit and film a whole load of books. Well, not a whole load of videos whilst I got Empty House Carriers out on site today. But I do have one more book to put into the wrap up before we do stats, and that is The Lock-In by Phoebe Lockhurst. I'm really annoyed that this is folded. I don't even know how that's happened. This was so much fun. I think I saw Leanne Rose talk about this book. I'm pretty sure it was her. And then I put it on my wish list, and then Charlotte was kind enough to send it to me from Books and Bargains a while ago, a couple months ago, when I was having a particularly rough teaching day. And this was just the perfect thing to read at the end of the summer. My anxiety has been building over the last week or so. I started having anxiety dreams about 10 days ago now, around going back to school, and I'm really looking forward to seeing my team and the kids and getting back into it, because I do love my job. I know I whinge about it quite a bit. I do love it. I'm just nervous for everything that's about to come and the pressure that's about to be on my shoulders. And I'm also not looking forward to being that level of tired, because there really is nothing like teacher tired that I've experienced. So I'm a bit nervous, and I've not been sleeping very well because I've been having anxiety dreams, because my brain is just a treat. And this was perfect. We are following 3 housemates and one night stand who get locked in the attic through a series of events. And that's what I'm really going to tell you, because that's all you really need to know. It's just really fun. It's very silly. It's got multiple points of view. You have to kind of put your logic over here and just enjoy the ride. And I just thought it was really fun. This is her debut. I will definitely pick up her next book. It was kind of reminded me of, who's the author that did The Switch? Beth O'Leary. It's kind of that vein of things. Because like, there's a romance in here, but it's very like fade to black. So if you like romance but don't like the naughty stuff, this is for you. But yeah, I thought it was cute, and it was a really interesting look at like what it's like to be in your 20s and living in London and trying to find yourself and trying to survive with housemates. And also for someone of my age, this, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a storyline involving MSN Messenger, which was so my era. It was unreal. So like the nostalgia level was quite high. And yet this was just fun and easy, and I flew through it and I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was great. So that was my last read of the month. Let's do stats, because I'm sure this video is going to be like an hour and a half long. So apologies, and well done if you've made it to this point. So this month I read 17 books. That is pre-teaching levels of reading. So if this is your first video by me, by the way, I'm amazing that you made it to this point. Thank you. Oh, there goes Molly. I've got windows open, so there's gonna be all kinds of background noise. Hello, you coming? She's like, no, I'm not talking to you. You brought in another cat. She's all right. She's a little bit grumpy, but anyway. Yes. So this is pre teaching levels of reading. Like I said, if you're this is the first video you've watched from me, I don't usually read this much anymore in a month. I usually average around 9 or 10 books, so 17 is amazing. Plus I had 2 DNFs, which was Frog Music and Leigh Wife, so that's 19 books cleared off my TBR this month, which is so good. Number of pages read was 6,095. Really chuffed with that, which gave me an average of 197 a day, which again is like my pre-teaching levels of reading, whereas reading around about 200 to 220 pages a day. She's now sat just out of shot with her back to me. So that was really good. Average star rating was 4.05. And then my favourite read of the month, this was really, really hard because I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5-star reads this month, which is a lot out of 17 reads, 17 books finished. And there were 2 that were really close together, which was The First Day of Spring and the one that I've gone for, which was Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. This one I just think is both of those, The First Day of Spring as well, I absolutely would highly recommend. This one, there was just something extra about this that just slightly pipped it. So yeah, this was my favourite read of the month. Most disappointing was my reread for the month, and that was The Wife Between Us by Grier, Hendrix and Sarah Pekkinen. This is my only read in the month that was lower than a 4-star. It's my 1 3-star read. And I still stand by the fact I think it's an enjoyable thriller, but there are issues with it, and I was disappointed at how far it dropped, because when I read it the first time it was a 5 and now it was a 3, so that was disappointing. And then finally my TBR is now standing at 61 books, which is really good. For anyone that's not aware, I'm trying to get my TBR below 50 books. I think 50 books is a good level where you've got plenty to choose from, but not too much to choose from. So that's what we're aiming for. So 61 is really good. We are heading in the right direction. I'm going to stop talking now, because if you've got to this point, you've probably watched like an hour and a half of me waffling. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I've had a really good month, obviously. It's been really fun. It's been exactly what I needed. It's been a good balance of doing nothing and doing some stuff. And I do feel rested and recharged. And I know that will last for approximately 15 minutes. Once the kids come back to school. We've got 3 days of inset, so I've got inset today and tomorrow and Friday, and then Monday it's just year 7 that are coming in, but I'm not a year 7 tutor anymore. I think I might have 1 lesson if we're doing lessons, but that's after lunch, and then everyone comes piling back on Tuesday, so wish me luck. But that will all be in my September wrap up, something to look forward to there. If you've made it to this point in the video, what should we have? Let's have any kind of like science emoji for this, because this was my favourite read of the month. Any sciencey emoji, leave it in the comments just so I know you made it this far. Please subscribe if you'd like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.